Tory MP has come under massive fire recently since asking universities for a list of tutors that are teaching about Brexit.
Critics of the MP would argue that the Conservative Party are trying to run the country like a Lenin state.
So we thought we better sit down and have a little talk about it. The reason why MP Heaton Harris needed this information was supposedly because he was doing some research. But he's the third highest whip in the Tory party, so do you think this is appropriate?
Appropriate, maybe not, but I don't think there was any particular malice behind what he was trying to do. Supposedly, people have said that he's a researcher of things like this before, so I think critics that have said that this is him wanting to, I don't know, like be snooping around and stuff like that, I think that's a little harsh.
But he's an MP that voted for Brexit, and I think at the moment it's such a sensitive time around Brexit and everything surrounding it. It obviously just, everything's a bit volatile and no one can help but feel quite suspicious about it. And to me it seems more sinister than what he makes it out to be.
But you don't think even if he was being so-called sinister, you don't think that it is the responsibility of universities to not be biased? Do you not think that this was essentially him making sure that universities were not being too pro one way or the other?
Well, I think academics have freedom, as they should, and it's not the government's input. They shouldn't have any input on what academics teach. And I think if he saw something that he didn't like and he already voted for Brexit, then is he going to tell the rest of the Tory party? Like, could it turn into something more sinister? That's what I'm worried about.
Yeah, I understand your argument. I just disagree. I don't think it's sinister.
Well, he sent out a tweet afterwards saying, "To be absolutely clear, I believe in free speech in our universities and having an open and vigorous debate on Brexit. But I think the thought police are sneakily stepping in, and I know it's slightly irrelevant to Brexit, but the Tories do kind of have a history of wanting some kind of censorship. Theresa May, I think it was this year, said that she wanted to crack down on the internet and sort of get people like more open to snoop on our messages and stuff. So I don't think anyone can help but feel."
You don't think that you're being a little bit of a conspiracy theorist here? You don't think you've got tinfoil hat on here? You're kind of trying to find a story out of nothing?
Well, I'm not particularly sure. I don't think so. I think if she's already said that she wants intelligence agencies to look at our messages more, then I think that's quite worrying. I think if we're complacent in it, then it could become reality.
Yeah, but I don't think this is relevant to this story. I think this is
But you can't help that obviously places a lack of trust in the party.
Yeah, perhaps I can understand. I can understand people's concerns about it, but I think that this is just not relevant.
Well, the funny thing about the whole situation is that the Daily Mail's had their input.
Yes. The comical part of the story.
Yeah. Yesterday they wrote on one of their headlines, "Our remaining universities, the extent of anti-Brexit bias laid bare." And they've called for students to contact them if they've experienced any anti-Brexit bias at university.
Some of these responses were great.
Yeah, some of them were pretty sarcastic. So my question is it okay for tutors to assert their personal perspective on Brexit?
I have absolutely no problem with tutors expressing their own personal opinion as long as they're not trying to force their opinion on others. Everyone's entitled to their opinion, obviously, but I think lecturers have to realise that they've got a sense of they have a responsibility to be impartial with their opinions on things, particularly if they're teaching a topic such as politics, for example. They need to make sure that their views aren't trying to influence their students.
I think in terms of the syllabus, obviously that should be unbiased, but we're old enough and smart enough to make our own decisions. That's why we're at university, to question people's views. And I think if we're in primary or secondary education, then it would be a big problem. But I accept what my tutor's views are, and I would make my own anyway. So I don't really see...
I suppose so, but that might just be because you're strong-minded. You get there's some people that are a little bit like sheep and kind of take everything as gospel, don't you?
The reason we're at university is to question people's views. So maybe the people that don't do that maybe shouldn't be here.
Perhaps so, but that's a different debate for a different time.
Well, even if there was an anti-Brexit bias at universities, why shouldn't tutors enjoy the right to freedom of speech? Obviously, the Daily Mail clearly does.
Yeah.
and they won't think twice about using it to project their bias. So why do you think that they had such a problem with it?
I think it's a little different because the Daily Mail, you choose whether you buy the Daily Mail at the end of the day. You choose whether you read the Daily Mail, whereas if you're a university student learning politics, you don't have any choice. If your tutor decides to start trying to, I don't know, for example, spread pro-Brexit or anti-Brexit, you don't have a choice. You just have to absorb it, whereas Daily Mail, you get a choice, really, don't you? It's a little bit of a different argument.
But you have a choice whether you want to accept that or not.
Yes, I suppose so. If you're...
when you're 20, 22 years of age, surely, yeah.
This again comes down to, yes, me and you would probably think, well, I have my own opinion, I'm not going to be influenced either way, but you do get certain individuals, don't you? They get influenced easily or easier than others.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose so, but I would have thought that somebody doing politics would know that taking everything with a grain of salt.
You'd
basically.
hope so, yeah.